Hey, it's Joel here with Benefits Nerds. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to verify that your doctor or your provider is inside of the Medicare program and the method that we use to verify that your provider is inside of the network of providers for the given carrier that you decide to enroll in. Now, this method is so effective because we actually match it up to the exact location, assuming that the provider or the doctor actually has multiple. So today we'll cover where to verify that your doctor is inside of the Medicare program, how to match with a specific location, and how to verify that the plan you intend to enroll in is taken by that doctor. And if you click below, you'll get access to the doctor accessibility roadmap that accompanies this training. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the first thing that I want to remind you of is that Medicare is not a one-size-fits-all type of situation. It is a case-by-case basis for each individual. That said, there are different types of plans like just original Medicare, Advantage plans, supplement plans, and all types of different situations that you can run into. So yours may be different. And I also have to put this disclaimer out there that all plans are not available in all areas. So you would have to check with either medicare.gov or 1-800-Medicare to find out with your zip code if a specific plan is available for you. But now that we've got all of those disclaimers and things out of the way, I want to direct your attention to the screen behind me. And what I have pulled up behind me is medicare.gov. This is where you're going to actually go first, or at least where you should go first, to self-verify that your doctor is inside of the Medicare program. To do that, what you're going to do is go to Providers and Services, and then go to Find Care Providers. If you want a direct link to this, it would be medicare.gov/care-compare. But then once you get here, you want to go to Doctors and Clinicians and then put in your zip code. And for me, that would be this guy right here. So that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this. So let's do that. And we are looking for a primary care physician, so PCP, and then we'll get a bunch of names here. So if we were looking specifically for a specific doctor, we could then drill down a little bit further and go through if they are male or female, are they connected to a specific doctor network? So let's say, for example, Advocate, just for example. And then we can go ahead and hit apply, and then that would narrow down our search a little bit further so that we can say, hey, we have a XYZ doctor. This is their name. They are currently inside of the Medicare program. So technically, that is the first step that we would need to do inside of the two-step process for verifying that we have a doctor inside of network. First, check to make sure that they are actually inside of the Medicare program to start with. Then once we have that verified, then we can move on to verifying that they are inside of a Medicare plans network. Now, before we actually verify that the provider is inside of the network, what we need to do first, before we do anything else, this is step 0, complete a scope of appointment so that we have that on file. And what that basically does is say, hey, Medicare or Centers for Medicare, this beneficiary has said that they would like to work with this advisor, and this advisor has said that this beneficiary has given me permission to get information from them. If that is not in place, and if you talk with an advisor that just ask you for your information without getting this in writing, run and run fast, because they are not supposed to be asking those types of questions without this being in writing and signed. That being said, now what we would need to do, which is what we've already done, is verify on medicare.gov that our provider is actually inside of the network. So we've gone to medicare.gov, we've chosen Doctors and Clinicians, and we verified by name that, hey, XYZ doctor is inside of the Medicare program. Now, again, the next step is to make sure that the plan or the provider is in sync with the actual plan that you decide to enroll in. So in order to do that, what we would need to do, again, is to get that scope of appointment first. Then we will verify that they are inside of the actual plan. Then in order to verify that the doctor is inside of the network, we make sure to verify that the information is correct, and also that, again, they are a doctor and plan fit before we enroll in anything. And especially if you're going year to year and if anything needs to change, let's say the doctor actually changed networks and you didn't know that, that's something that you would need to make sure that you verify before you enroll into a different plan. So again, we verify with both software and verifying via phone, because the software can and does lie sometimes. So we do this in two different ways, but we make sure to cross check to make sure that your provider is inside of the network. And with that information, you can now make a informed decision. And that's what we at Benefits Nerds pride ourselves on, giving you the data so that you can make an informed decision on your own Medicare future, because it is yours. But now that I've shown you theoretically how this actually works, let me show you how a actual doctor lookup inside of our software would actually work. So first things first, we start by entering the information that is needed to actually get the ball rolling. And by basic information, what I mean is literally your first name, well, full name. So first name, middle initial, and last name. Are you married? Your birthday, your age, your first or primary form of contact, your email address, your phone number, and then your address as well. If you have your Medicare beneficiary or your red, white, and blue card as it's known, then we'll need this information, but specifically the Part A start date and Part B start dates. Now, once we have all of that information, it is then assumed that we have or should have a scope of appointment on file. You can see that I've sent myself a lot of tests and stuff like that. But what this does is make sure that, hey, this person that I'm talking to has permission to talk to me, because they actually said, hey, sign this first before I actually talk to you about anything. You do not, if you talk to someone or a Medicare agent or advisor that wants to get information about your Medicare, your medications, and your providers before they actually have this on file, run fast, because they are not supposed to have any of that information unless you have this on file first. So once that is in place, and if you don't know what that is, you want a specific training on how to do or what that looks like, there's a video that I already created that's linked up here that I'll link in either up here or in the comments below. But once we have all of that information, then what we'll do is go ahead and ask for your providers. So say, for example, your doctor's last name is Jones. So then what I would do is say, Mr. or Mrs. Client, do you have the full name of Dr. Jones? If you don't, then I would just go off of, okay, Jones is where we're going to start. Then we kind of have to go with the location from there. So I'll then ask you, well, hey, what's their address? And then from that point, we'll narrow down which part or which location you actually go to, and then we can figure out where that actual or what providers you are actually tied to. So then once we have those providers, let's say just for example, I'll tie this one to me, then what we'll be able to do is go in and start a quote. Let's say I want to see if my provider is in network. And as it stands right now, with the plan given by Molina Choice Care, an HMO, this provider that I selected is not available. Well, for the sake of this video, it doesn't look like anyone is in network for here, but this is a demonstration or example to show this is how we would actually go about figuring that out. So we would put in the information, then come here and say, hey, which provider is available? Are these providers available in any of the carriers that we have available inside of our area? If not, then we have to figure out a different way of doing things. But all in all, this is the process. We get the scope of appointment, we get the information that we need, and then from there, we find out where the locations of your doctors are, and then we find out if they are inside of the network that you want to be a part of with the provider that you actually want to be attached to. My sincere hope is that this video was actually very informative and gives you the firepower that you need to execute on making sure that your doctor is inside of the network that you plan on enrolling into. But if you need more help or tailored guidance on executing this, or if you want a copy of today's training with extra bonuses, which includes the free worksheet that I showed you, go ahead and click below and that will be sent to your inbox very shortly. Now, I like to end all of my videos with a Marvel twist. So if you could pick a favorite MCU moment from the MCU, what would it be? Mine would be when Cap actually picked up Mjolnir for the very first time. Actually, my collective theater lost its mind when it happened, and I did too. But anyway, thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.